Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Adventures in Dudeness. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Um, I'm some of the my analytics are not looking that great, but I will push through as we are getting the show back going again. I realized that there was a bit of a loss. So I have to build the show back from scratch, which I understand. But if you could, I'm going to go ahead and do this early. Uh, Share this show with your friends, family, coworkers, your social media networks, whoever you feel would gain value from tuning into my show, listening to some of the things that I have to say. So, last week we had um, here I go. I'm trying to not do the thing, but it's very difficult. So last week's episode dealt with punctuality, right? Why it's important to be on time. Um, or actually, no, I'm sorry, not punctuality. That was the week, 2 weeks before that. Last week's was incremental methods of improvement. Um, I hope everyone gains some value from that episode. You know, like I presented the show and kind of did an overview of what dudeness is. I uh, I, won't, I don't want to overwhelm anybody, right? But we're we're all men. We all need to make change and improve ourselves every day if we can. But it should be at the top of our priority list. I feel like. Not that I'm trying to bully anybody or push anybody into doing anything, but I think as a recap from last week's episode, I think I gave some pretty useful tips on ways that we can do that. So, this week's episode is going to be full of more useful tips, a little bit different, but, for those of you who maybe are first time homeowners over the spring or summer, or you recently maybe moved from a warmer climate to a colder climate, something like that. A big thing we have up here in the Northeast around this time of year is we all start to get ready for those early dark days and the cold and the snow and just the miserableness, if that's even a word, of winter. So today's show is the fall how-to show. I'm going to share some useful tips, I think, that I have come across of things that I do, but I found good reputable sources across the interwebs, so you don't have to look for them. And I'm going to present them to you today. So we'll dive in here. Oh, first thing I want to mention though is that not that I'm a huge holistic, I guess, or natural type person. My wife is for the most, kind of. But as the kids are back in school, the weather's getting colder, people are starting to congregate more inside together. With this said, we're all going to start passing germs again. And we all remember the great flu of 2020, right? One of the worst years in probably history, I guess. I guess we've had some other pandemics, but in U.S. history, rather. But yeah, with that said, we are starting to get into those months. Now, what I do is I start to ramp up my vitamin C. try to stay away from people, wash my hands a lot. All this is all normal stuff, but we've, we all know this at this point. At least I would hope so. But there's some other things that you can do that are, not immunizations or shots or pharmaceuticals. But what we can do is my wife makes I call it an immunity tea, right? It's an immunity booster tea. There's all kinds of different recipes for this on the interwebs, but this is the one we use. So basically, you get a big pot of water, throw a bunch of lemon in there, a bunch of ginger in there, and you just let that bad boy cook. You can add some cayenne pepper, cinnamon. There's some other things you can add. There's all kinds of different variants, but this is the one we use. So you let that sit and steep and just kind of do a simmer thing for a while. Strain that all off. We throw it in mason jars, throw it in the fridge. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take out a glass and you're going to take some honey. Good honey. Don't eat local natural honey. Go to a farmer's market, natural food store, something near you, right? Because honey is very specific to your region. We'll get into that in another episode. So I am totally interested in bees and beekeeping and honey and its principles and abilities and all that stuff. But you're going to take some honey, throw that in the bottom of your glass, throw some hot water in the bottom, just a little bit to melt that honey, and you're going to stir that up and dilute it. Okay, you're going to get it broken down. And then you're going to hit it with half a glass, whatever cup you're using, doesn't matter what size cup, half a glass of that tea. Then you're going to top that off with cold water. I don't know. I don't know if it's really tea. I mean, it's good. Just kind of tastes like sweet flavored water, sort of. Almost like a green, not green tea, but like a cold tea drink. But anyway, you're gonna suck that down once a day, and that's gonna help boost your immunity as you get your vitamin C. Ginger is good for you. You can also add some turmeric, which I take turmeric once a day, every morning. And like I said, it make it your own. Add, take away, do whatever, but really your biggest principles are the ginger and the lemon, and then the honey. The honey is huge. So yeah, that's something that we drink, and I thought I would share that with everybody today. Go ahead and it's cheap. Make some of that stuff up, throw it in the fridge, suck it down once a day. You'll be good to go. Now, disclaimer: this is not any type of scientific backed proof or anything like that. I'm just saying it helps me, keeps me healthy for the most part, keeps everybody in our house healthy for the most part. As a matter of fact, what I can say, and this could just be happenstance, I guess, but I avoided COVID with it a couple months ago. Everybody else got COVID that we were on vacation with. We were sharing a hotel room with them and everything. Started drinking that stuff. None of us in this house that drank that got COVID. Just saying, could be happenstance. There's no proof behind it. I'm just giving it a real world experience. So there you go. Okay, let's get into our manly tips, I guess we'll call it. I don't know what I should call this. I guess really nothing. Handy home. I don't know. I'll work on it. Okay, so we're gonna start outside first. So the big thing is you got to set up for your snow removal. Okay, so we're outside. So what we want to do is go over to your hardware store. I'm not going to name one. Pick whatever one you like. Personally, try to support small business. That would be great. But go to your hardware store. Go ahead and get some stakes. get some orange marking paint, or you can get some reflectors, whatever. Find something to mark off your driveway. There's nothing worse than, especially if you have a plow guy or you plow yourself in the spring when all the snow melts, having to spend 2 weeks fixing your fucking lawn and dealing with topsoil and all that shit. Okay, so mark your lawn off good, so that way your lawn's not getting tore up. You're going to have stones in the spring. It's just par for the course that you'll have to rake out or whatever. But you don't want your lawn getting torn up, or somebody backing out of your lawn, putting ruts and stuff in it. As men, we care a lot about our lawns, right? Well, I guess. Not me per se, but I'm sure a lot of people do. But anyway, yeah, you're going to want to mark your sidewalks out well, mark your driveways out, stuff like that. So that way, you know where the line is, the boundary. The other thing is you're going to want to go through, get rid of sticks, leaves, especially if you snow blow, rocks, mulch, wood chips, stuff like that. Especially if you snow blow. Too many times, you catch a rock with a snowblower and you're breaking, putting a hole in the siding, breaking a window in the house, breaking a window in the car, denting a car, launching it across the street into your neighbor's car. So you want to get all the debris out of your driveway, off your sidewalk, especially if you're going to snow blow. And that's kind of really it for setting up for snow removal. I had one other thing, getting your snowblower ready. That can kind of go along maybe with, no, I guess it fits for this. So if you have a snowblower, well, first of all, dig your shovels out, get them close to a doorway. I leave mine right inside my garage door. The other thing you're going to want to do before the snow flies is, because I think it's usually cheaper. I don't pay attention because I don't use that much of it. But go, again, while you're at your local hardware store picking up your stakes to mark off your driveway and your walkways, grab some bags of salt, rock salt. I don't know, depending on how big of a driveway and stairs and stuff like that you have, use your best judgment. You may have to go get more. And then what I like to do is throw in a small trash can, plastic trash can. And I don't dump the salt in the trash can, but what you can do is just put it in there, put the bag in there, and then cut the top off, and that'll help moisture from getting into the bottom of the bag and getting that salt, like, basically forming into a giant block of salt. And then find yourself a decent scoop. A lot of times I use like a Folgers or Maxwell House big coffee can, or a small one. You want something that'll have some good volume to it, so that way you don't have to keep walking back and forth. And so yeah, you're gonna get all that stuff set up. Leave that bucket somewhere convenient that you can get to. And like I said, get your shovels out, get them set up, and then I don't care what you have, you're gonna have to shovel. It's par for the course. Although there's some people who choose to just use the hose, the garden hose, and hot water, and that turns into a solid block of ice, and it's a disaster. So don't do that. But yeah, move that stuff. And then if you have a snowblower, go ahead. You're going to want to drag that out. Get some fresh gas in it. Check your spark plug. Check your air filter. If you don't know how to do that stuff, there's lots of YouTube videos. I'm not really going to get into it here because it's better to see a visual representation. I actually don't have a snowblower, but same principle for a lawnmower. So maybe I can make a YouTube video to put on the channel that people can see. My day job is mechanic, so I'm pretty well tuned with that sort of stuff. Go ahead and check and or change your oil. If you have one big enough with an oil filter, some don't. And check your fuel filter. If you have an inline fuel filter, usually they're like a small pancake filter. You may have to clean your carburetor up, depending on if you stored it correctly or not. But get some fresh gas in there and get it started up. Kind of run through everything, make sure everything's working. You're going to want to also have a grease gun. I know a lot of people don't own a grease gun. They don't think of this stuff. But you got to remember, winter is full of salt. Well, most of the time salt, depending on where you live. Wintertime is full of salt and water, right? Snow is just frozen rain. So when those two things mix together, you're going to start to get corrosion, rust, stuff like that. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check your entire snowblower for grease zerks. That's what they're called. It's called a grease zerk. And you just get get a cheap grease gun from like Harbor Freight or something. They're fairly inexpensive. And you're going to want to make sure you grease everything. And the correct way to do that, again, if you look on YouTube if you need a visual representation, which I understand. I'm kind of that way myself, but you're going to put your grease gun on there onto the Zerk, and you're going to pump it a few times until you see some grease seeping out of that section that you are greasing. So usually it's like a bearing or something. So you just want to see a little bit weeping out of there, and then it's greased, right? So you got good fresh grease in there. You should be good for the year. But definitely want to get this done now before the snow flies, which I know some people have already had snow. So maybe I'm a little late, but for the majority of us, here we've gotten a couple frosts so far, nothing huge, cold, rainy days really. But yeah, go ahead and go through and check that stuff out, and do it now for sure. Get it done now. Let's see, where are we at for time here? About 15 minutes. Okay. I was going to do something about like leaf management, raking leaves. I don't know. Me personally, I'm not a huge leaf raker. I know a lot of people get kind of anal about leaves. Leaves are very good for your compost pile. If you do compost, if you put in a garden, that's some really good material. So go ahead and rake those up. But I think I'm going to pass that up for right now, and move on to maybe some more important stuff, just for now. So the next thing we're going to move on to, just like our snowblower, we're still outside of our home. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to prep our lawn equipment for storage. So what we're going to do, and there's an article on this. This is from opei.org. You can go ahead and Google it. There's, again, YouTube channels and all kinds of websites have this information. To be honest with you, your lawnmower and stuff should have came with something in the manual on how to winterize it. But what you're going to do, I always suggest this: drain the gas. Just drain your gas. There's really not that much in there to save anyway. Just drain your gas, or be mindful ahead of time of, okay, I got to cut the lawn at least another 3 times, so I'm not going to fill it with gas, so I can run most of the gas out of it. And then what you're going to do is, well, you have time because it's the end of the season. You're going to, now, right now I'm talking lawnmower. So we'll start with a lawnmower. If you have a rider or a push mower, it applies to both. Go ahead and clean your deck up, your mower deck underneath. Basically, there's going to be a bunch of grass and crap stuck in there. Just kind of scrape that out of there the best you can. The cleaner you keep it, the better off you are. What happens is moisture gets in behind there, and it'll start to rot your mower deck. So you're going to want to get that checked out. And at the same time, while you're doing that, take a look at your blades. Look for any chips, sharpness, anything like that. Go ahead and, I know blade sharpening is kind of a thing of the past, but I think you can go to a hardware store and get replacement blades for just as cheap these days. So inspect those. Again, on a riding mower, grease, grease your steering. Look for grease zerks around there. Same thing as your snowblower. Put your grease gun on the grease zerk. Pump a couple pumps. Keep a lookout. You don't want to blow anything out, any seals or anything, but you want to see a little bit of grease, depending on what it is, weeping out. You can go through and check your air filter and stuff if you want to. This may be something you do ahead of time, but I like to do it at the end of the year because the weather is still decent. You don't want to do it in the beginning of the year when it's still cold and crappy out, especially if you don't have a garage. If you're out in like a shed or a outbuilding or a lean-to, you don't want to be screwing around out there in the cold and wet and everything else. So do it now ahead of time. Just go through, do an inspection, check your spark plug, stuff like that. Maybe order a tune-up kit. Tune-up kits are, fairly inexpensive. It'll come with a spark plug, air filter, new fuel filter, stuff like that. They're pretty cheap. Oil, again, on a rider, most of the time you're going to have an oil filter, so change your oil. Again, very inexpensive stuff. And what is not inexpensive is a new riding lawnmower. I can tell you that for sure. So, take care of your stuff now, and it'll take care of you. Weed eaters, kind of the same thing. Get the gas out of there. Go through, inspect that. Check your spark plug. Check your air filter. You can get a maintenance kit for those as well. Your local parts store, hardware store should have that kind of stuff. Leaf blower, same thing. Really, this applies to all of your gas implements or gas equipment. Leaf blowers, weed eaters, lawn mowers, push mower, you're going to do the same thing, just no grease. Clean your mower deck, check your blade, check your oil, new air filter, new spark plug. Big thing. People, those of you that have pressure washers, if you store your pressure washer outside in the winter, you are going to want to pull the drain plug off of that pump and get that water out of there because it will freeze and crack your pump. So that's definitely something you want to do. If you have a gas one, I do not, but gas one, same principles apply to all gas, all gas equipment. So that's kind of across the board. Check your tires on your riding lawnmowers. You may have to replace a tire. And all this stuff is going to be cheaper at the end of the season than it is at the beginning of the season. I don't want to say it's going to be more readily available because a lot of times they don't restock because the season is ending. But a lot of the stuff you can find in your clearance section. Chainsaw, same thing. Again, all gas equipment, get the gas drained out of it. You can use Sta-Bil. I don't know. I just don't. I don't like it. I find that it's just better to leave the old gas in there, honestly, than putting Sta-Bil in the gas. I've just never had very good luck with it. I know it's rated very highly and a lot of people use it. I've just never had good luck with it. So that's why I always suggest all these things have fairly small gas tanks anyway. So you're really, what are you missing out on? Like $2 or $3 in gas? I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. So from there, all that stuff is good. Put away, get it in your shed. Keep it out of the wetness, stuff like that, and get it put up for the season, or leave it somewhat accessible if you have a garage and want to go tinker throughout the year. Go ahead and go take care of those maintenance items on that stuff throughout the winter. But I would definitely, me personally, in my opinion, get it done ahead of time. So from there, we are going to we're going to move into the home. We're going to move into the house now. And this information that I'm going to give you, we got 8 tips to get your furnace ready for winter. Okay, this comes from Sears Home Services website. Article, it was updated April 4th, 2024, and the author is Aaron Hines. So I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick overview. If you want to find this article, on the interwebs, go ahead and Google it or whatever. I'm sure you can find it. And again, a lot of information on YouTube, the internet, stuff like that. Fairly accessible. Use whatever. I mean, it's, again, in all reality, all this stuff is pretty much going to be the same. We're talking basic kind of maintenance stuff. So, with that said, these are things that you're going to do across all models and makes and types. So, number 1, turn on your thermostat. You're going to switch it from cooling to heating. If you have central air, if you do not, you're going to go ahead and kick it on. See if that thermostat is going to work. Set the high, set the temperature high enough so that way it is lower than the temperature in the room, because that'll kick the heat on. And then, go to the area where your furnace is, give a listen, see if it lights and kicks on. Number 2, change your air filters. My furnace uses some fancy ass electric air filter. I don't know. It's got like superpowers or something. I don't know how it does it, but again, not my house. I just rent. So really not for me to mess around with, but there is no filter element. It uses a fancy, filter. But you're going to want to change your air filters. You can find these at your local hardware store. I suggest buying the multi-pack, because you're going to need to change that filter probably every month or every 2 months throughout the winter while your furnace is running. If you do have, this is another thing you need to pick up, either a tarp or a cover. If you do have central air conditioning, you're going to want to cover up your AC condenser that's outside. Obviously, don't do this until you're ready to turn the heat on, because if you're still using the air conditioning, it's just going to blow it off. But yeah, they make covers for them. Just kind of get an idea of the dimensions of yours with a tape measure. Fairly simple, and there's plenty of people to help you along with things at your hardware store that can assist you. And what that's going to do is any snow or ice or anything that falls off your roof during the winter, it's not going to take your AC condenser out. The next thing you're going to want to do, I don't know if I should mention this. This seems a little advanced for people. If you feel comfortable and you're knowledgeable enough, go ahead and clean the heat exchanger. Brush it, vacuum it out. Should be done once a year, usually by a trained technician. I mean, if you're not handy or don't feel comfortable doing that, I totally understand. I would maybe get a contract with an HVAC company and just have them show up once a year and do a furnace service. Same thing here, lubricate and clean the blower motor. If you're knowledgeable enough to do that, great. Test the igniter switch. Again, excellent. Inspect the chimney and carbon monoxide detectors. So that's something you could definitely do yourself. Obviously, you're going to look for cracks or soot, or depending on what you use for heat, parts where your exhaust has come apart. Check the batteries in your carbon monoxide detectors in all the rooms, and you should have them all throughout the house, especially if you have natural gas. Now, if you have an oil furnace, heed my warning here. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Out of all of the type of furnaces there are in the world, people who have oil furnaces or oil boilers we are fucking moonlighting HVAC technicians, okay? We are what we have to be between gelling issues, um, running out of fuel, priming the system, changing filters, changing nozzles, setting the I don't even know what the fuck you call it. I just know how to do it. You're going to set your gap on your igniter, I guess we'll call it. Um, Doing all that, being covered in fucking heating oil at 2 in the morning because the house is fucking freezing and the boiler shit the bed. Listen, I've been there my whole life. I won't ever do it again, but we are the probably the strongest people when it comes to this, the strongest amateurs. But yeah, if you live in a house, oil oil furnace or boiler, go ahead and I don't know, me myself, I call a professional. I don't want to fuck around with it. It's dirty, it's nasty, it's smelly. Um, yeah, I would just I I would I would cut your losses so that way you don't have to work on your furnace in the middle of the night when it shits the bed, and just call a professional company and have them prep it for the season. Um, but it may be a good idea to kind of keep some spare parts around, nozzles, especially nozzles and filters. Two biggest things. Keep know what they are, know how to change them, and um, keep keep extras for sure. The other thing is I'm again, this is speaking from experience. Make sure you put heat tape on your fuel line if your tank is outside, and try to get that thing blocked off. Best thing I can suggest to get that blocked off with that's fairly inexpensive. Uh, Bales of hay that'll help insulate that tank and keep your fuel from gelling up. Most of the time we run a winter blend. Well, all the time we run a winter blend. But there are times where you get excess moisture inside that fuel tank, especially if it's not full all the time. And we get some hot and cold days. It's going to start to build moisture. Um, you're going to definitely want to keep an eye on that. Keep it insulated. Keep the heat tape on there so that way it doesn't gel up. And really for that, that's really about it for furnaces and stuff. Um, like I said, if you don't feel comfortable with all this stuff, go ahead and call a professional. The next thing we can do, though, which anybody can do, is we're going to. If you have ceiling fans in your house, I love ceiling fans. That's my thing. That's probably my favorite thing about a house is a ceiling fan. All the houses I lived in Florida, the ceiling fan got turned in the day we moved in and did not get turned off until the day we moved out. So I'm a ceiling fan fanatic, and just so you know, ceiling fans have a setting on them to change the direction in which the fan spins between summer and winter. Not a lot of people know that. So you're going to look at your ceiling fan, look for a little black switch, or it could be on your remote if you have a fancy one. To change the direction, obviously, shut your ceiling fan off before you do this, because if not, you're going to have some issues. Okay, so go ahead and shut your ceiling fan off, look for that switch, and basically what you want is during the warmer months of spring and summer, your fan should turn counterclockwise. This causes the fan blades to push cool air in a downward motion, making it feel cooler in the room. In winter, though, we want our ceiling fan direction should be clockwise. You should feel no downward breeze at all. Many people don't realize that a ceiling fan can help warm your home by evenly distributing warm air to eliminate cold spots in the room. So it's going to help heat your home more efficiently, efficiently, which is also going to save you money on your heating costs. But yeah, you want to keep that warm air moving, keep the cold spots out of the house. But yeah, that's really it. And this information came from Lowe's, the Lowe's website. If you want to read the whole thing, I don't know, it's pretty in depth about ceiling fans, but yeah, that's going to definitely aid in keeping your house warmer. So yeah, go ahead and do that. It's free. It's there. You have access to it. I just told you how to do it, and it's going to save you a little cash this winter, hopefully, and it'll definitely keep your house warmer. So little simple thing there. The next thing is try getting your house insulated better. Now, I know this sounds crazy, right? Especially if you live in a newer home. This really more pertains to older homes, single pane windows, stuff like that. But properly insulating your home. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here. If you have a screen door or a storm door on your home, front door, back door, whatever, you are going to want to pull your screen out and you are going to want to put in the solid glass piece. That is going to help insulate your house from basically air escaping. That's going to keep the cold out and keep the warm in. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go around, especially on a cold, windy day. Take a look, walk around all your windows and put your hand against it. If you feel a breeze, what you need to do is you need to go get some window kits or window plastic, whatever you want to call it. Get you a hair dryer. Their stuff is really easy. You throw on some two-sided tape around the window, throw the sheet of plastic over top of that, and then you hit it with the air dryer, and it's gonna help seal your window up, keeping those drafts coming in. Next thing you want to do is your doors. If you have, walk around, check for drafts at the bottom of your door. Use draft dodgers. Update the seal around your door. Also very easy, very simple stuff. It just sticks on in most cases. And then check the bottom of your door seal or also your threshold, which is going to be that little plate that runs under the door. That's your threshold. Make sure that's in good shape. Basically, we want to try to seal up any little holes that we have in our house, right? That's going to allow cold air in. Let's see, what else? I think that's as far, obviously look around. Your roof should be pretty well insulated. Oh, another thing you should do, speaking of roofs, before snow falls is if you feel comfortable doing this, inspect your roof. Look for torn shingles, any of I think it's called I don't know, the tar around the vent pipes and stuff like that. Make sure that's not cracked, leaking, things of that nature. Make sure that your chimney and stuff for your furnace is not bent in a direction or anything, that everything is in good shape. And with that being said, now we're in wintertime. People have fireplaces, pellet stoves, wood stoves, maybe use a little space heater or something. Your smoke detectors. For the love of God, please make sure your smoke detectors, the batteries work, you test them, that they work. You do not want to, you run the highest risk of fires in the winter, and you are going to want to make sure that you are protected from that. That's just kind of that could be part of your fall preparation, is checking your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. Very, very important stuff. So yeah, I guess that's it for today's episode. I appreciate everybody showing up and hanging out and taking a listen. And listen, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but we I am on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel over there, Adventures in Dudeness. Also on Instagram and X. I'm trying to get better about using social media. I probably say that an awful fucking lot, but in all reality, I am trying to put my best foot forward and post some content. I'm going to try to maybe get into some vlogging and stuff. I really want to build my YouTube channel too. That's something that I really want to work on, because I think just visual displays of things are important. So, some how-to videos and some kind of cool stuff that we go out and do, and do a little vlogging, so everybody can kind of follow along with me, and check some of that stuff out. So, yeah, please, I implore you to share the podcast, share the YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, follow me on X. You know, subscribe, give me a star rating, leave some comments, do all the things. I really could use the encouragement. I really appreciate everyone taking their time away from me, their time away from other things to listen to the show. It's very important to me, and I really do appreciate it. So, with that said, take care of yourselves and each other.